Introduce yourself for me.
Say my name is Gregory Hayes, but back in the days, I was known as Kilo G. Today, they know me as Papa G.
All right, my partner's Mel, and that's Mac. Gonna ask you a few questions about the origins and some history of the U.S. boys.
No problem.
Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby. Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul, represent your ghetto. Hold up, for the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I know them killers you kin to. This for the lost generation, broke as hell, mad and impatient. But if you know your history, you can't have a strong foundation, baby. Kev Mac video, you know this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby.
Before the U.S., there's a part of the history that that very few people, unless they were there, know. Before the U.S., we were the young survivors. We were out of Roosevelt Elementary School, and we used to go downtown. We had our Levi jackets. We'd go downtown Compton to Exums to Charleston's. You know, Charleston's had the cool hookup stuff. And we go downtown Compton and have and take our Levi jackets and have them stenciled with these thick letters say "Young Survivors." We, you know, it was more of a club than a gang. But we knew that we meant something because in those days, in Compton, there was this sort of kind of revolution going on. You know, we had the Panthers over here. We had in a school where we were taught Black history. We kind of knew our enemies, but we didn't know our enemies.
What year was that?
That was like 1970. The Young Survivors, you know, and
let's rewind. When did you land in Compton?
I landed in Compton, and I was born in 1957. We lived in Los Angeles. I was told we lived in Los Angeles about 24th and Main. And then my father, you know, he's from Kentucky, wouldn't know his name if he read it on the box. But he had 6 children, he had 6 jobs. And he saved up enough money for us to move to Compton over there by 135th and Central in Piru Hood. I mean, this is in the 50s. You know, we moved to Compton about 1959, while I was 2 or 3 years old. And man, those were beautiful days. It was like that neighborhood of Compton. Man, I lived next door to my kindergarten teacher. Across the street, we had a black doctor. Next door, around the corner, the Boltons, their father was superintendent of Compton Unified School District. Man, you talking about Believer to Believer, Black Believer to Believer? Man, that's what we were, man. It was cool.
Sounds cool.
Man, it was awesome.
Are you comparing Compton to Leave It to Beaver?
Well, no, Believer to Believer. That's Black Believer. You hear me? Yeah, Black Believer, you know? And the thing is, all of our parents were from the South. And like the Boltons was from Texas, and we was from Louisiana, and others from Mississippi. It was first generation, and that got out of L.A. You know, that Central Avenue, South Central Los Angeles, which was in those days the Black Harlem of California. And but it was like, you know, it was all of that Harlem stuff going on. But when you move to the suburbs like Compton, over there 135th and Piru, 135th and Palmerlee, and all around there, man, you was doing pretty good, man.
So how long were you in that area for?
I was in there until I was 7 years old.
And then where'd you go after that?
We Rosecrans and Randy. I was 7 years old. First time I went to jail.
Fruit Town.
They called it Fruit Town. You know why they called it Fruit Town?
Yeah.
Man, in those days, man, we were so poor. The only way we could survive was from the fruits on the tree. It was like manna from heaven. Every house, I don't know who planted those trees. Man, we had peach trees, plum trees, pomegranates.
Grapes.
We had grapes. We had every tree, man. Man, brother, we were starving, but we was eating. And we would take so much of the trees. We had tree raids, all of us in the hood. I'm like 5 years old, 6 years old. We like raiding the trees, and we take some of the stuff to our aunties. They put them in preserves. They make preserves.
And what year was that?
Man, that was like 1964.
What was the racial makeup of the neighborhood back then?
It was all black. It was black and Latin, a few Latins. But you know what, brother? We always embraced Mexicans in those days, man. And you know something? We had an avocado tree, the only tree black people didn't eat. Man, and Gilbert and them, Gonzalez and them is across the street. And they come out, we don't like you. And we throw the avocados at them. And they mama and them be picking them up. And they making guacamole. And we didn't even know what the fuck was going on, right? But and mama say, go, do some more, get some more. Man, we chucking avocados at them, but they was our friends, man. Went to school with them. I went to catechism with one of them just to see what catechism was like, man.
What is catechism? I don't know.
Man, it's where the Latins, the people in Catholicism, they send their children to be indoctrinated. They have to know certain things in order to be to get to the next level, to be like, oh, I'm a Catholic. You know, it's their orientation. Altar boys catechism is to bring them into worship the Pope, worship the spiritual, our leaders, and what, man, to me, because I was a Baptist, and I was at First Evergreen Missionary Baptist Church on Rosecrans and Wilmington, and man, hey, we had some fun.
What junior high school did you attend in Compton?
You know, our family.
And where did you live at during those times?
Our family was was pretty much nomadic. You know, like I said, we started over there on 135th. Then we moved to Maple and Arambe, and that's right there by Rosecrans and Arambe. And there was a dairy. There was a milk dairy right there, and it was a dead end street. So when what's his name, Lou Rawls came out with, because when you live on a dead end street, you gotta be tough and strong. Man, we thought we was tough and strong, and I was like 7 years old, and that was right. That was like a month before the riot.
Did you know Lou Rawls had a daughter that lived on Cherry?
I know. I know his daughter because she was like, she loved one of my brethren, and I'm not, you know, everybody's living private lives, so I don't want to like conflate their lives with that, but I'll give you hints. But yeah, she dated one of my brothers. As a matter of fact, Lou Rawls wanted to fly for the prom, wanted to fly him and her to Las Vegas for a prom party. But any case, and if she's listening and she knows, then she say, hey, yeah, I remember that, you know, because I was there. The thing is today, you know, I don't know. I think what we did in our neighborhood, everyone should say, hey, this is what happened. This is how we evolved. You know, this is where we came from. This is what we were. This is how we got there, so that we could teach the youth, hey man, these were our mistakes and these were our successes. So that's my primary reason for this.
Let's bump it up a little bit.
In the 70s, we moved twice. We moved to Harris and Rosecrans, Thorson and Rosecrans. That's where the Compton Drive-In used to be. So we were living there, you know, and we were hustling, doing cutting lawns and this, that, and the other. But in any case, so after that, we moved to Thorson and Greenleaf down that way by Kelly Park. So that was like 1971.
So is that the point you contacted Young Survivors?
That was at Roosevelt Junior High School. We started the Young Survivors. Okay. The same people who started U.S. were young survivors. Let me tell you one quick story about young survivors.
Okay.
So we were this quasi-political, not knowing we were political, but we knew that we were survivors of slavery. We knew we were survivors of the diaspora. And it was just something that was DNA'd in us. And so we were the young survivors, you know, we were the club at Compton, at Roosevelt Junior High School. We had a lot of people with us because we was all loving each other. So then one day, we had school and the word got out. Hey man, what happened to Daryl Sharp? Nah man, what happened to Daryl Sharp? Hey man, he went to the Rivoli Theater and white boy grabbed him and choked his ass out and said, go to sleep, nigga. And put him to sleep. And we had never heard no shit like that, but everybody was mad. That shit permeated from Roosevelt to Dominguez High School. And by that Saturday, we all caught buses to the Rivoli Theater in Long Beach, 50 Long Beach Boulevard. So we go up in that mug, it's maybe 150 of us. So we watch it, we go to the movie, and the movie was called Billy Jack. That was a movie about the white boy went to a hick town and kicked all the white boys' asses and shit. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but Billy Jack. We was watching Billy Jack, same thing happened. Big white boy came out there, movie was going, and he tried to fuck with one of us at the front row, by closest to the screen. And that motherfucker said, he didn't know that we was all in there. It was 150 of us in there. White boy just thought he was gonna like punk us out like that, right? And he did something, one of them niggas stood up and say, motherfucker, fall out. That's the first time I heard it, fall out. And so the white boy looked around, all the niggas stood up. White boy hit the aisle and started running up the aisle. And Ignat stepped in the aisle right before he could open up the front door and went bam, knocked the white boy out. And it was on. Cause I don't know, it was like percolating in us. We gotta get these motherfuckers.
So can you give me a roll call of the young survivors? Just
we still alive though.
Street names, not necessarily.
Man, we still alive, man.
Let me ask you.
They're not comfortable. I have to respect my mind. I have to respect my folks because they have elevated to a great level, a high level in life that's doing great things, and it's not me. It's them. They said, hey brother, we just don't. I say, man, you should let your children know what the shit we did, man.
Isn't that a bit selfish?
It could be, man. So his boys came in, military style, and dragged this big white ass out. And everybody was like, we pumped up. Man, we went into the lobby, breaking glass. Man, Hawk was my nigga. He know who he is. Man, he always hit the cash registers. We like stealing candy and shit. Hawk like getting all the money, but he's our boy, and we split everything at the end of the day. So Hawk hit that, and then what happened was, man, gorillas came. Man, they grabbed me and Shell, man. These white boys, right? So they grabbed me and Shell, took us in the back room, started beating us they had flapjacks, pow, pow, pow. And me and Shell like, pow, 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 taking our licks. She said, we'll be right back, nigger. And then they like, it was a door, it closed this way, we was on this side, it was a deadbolt. We was in jail. So me and Shell in that motherfucker, all the shit is going on outside. And so I say, look up 10 feet, it was a little window. I said, Shell, there's a window, man. He said, hey, we grabbed the table, put it there, broke the window, jumped through it, rolled over out of the window. I didn't know how high we was. Man, we dropped about 10 feet, and we dropped right on our backs, right on the police car. Black and white Long Beach. Now everybody's telling me that Ron Karenga, and I go to his community meetings very frequently in the Crenshaw district. I talk to Ron Karenga, I do Kwanzaa with him and everything. But me personally, it never came to me that it was any other organization other than us protecting us.
Well, who
U.S.
Who in your crew came up with the name? When you guys were at South Park and you guys are talking, who stepped forward and said, you know what, we're going to be the Us Boys? Who was that guy?
It wasn't we gonna be us boys. It was like we us.
Yeah.
We us.
Who came up with that thought?
It was all of us. Well, I'm not gonna say. I'm just not gonna say.
There was a group of individuals.
Yeah, but but we us, and it was spontaneous. One said it, but yeah, we are us. Our neighborhood was South Park, and the closest that our neighborhood was Kelly Park. But if there was something structurally going on in terms of a black movement, maybe a few was there, maybe one or two was there, but I was never there, and I was not privy, and I don't know.
So wait a minute. What were the boundaries of the Us Boys? You were
Us Boys was from Atlantic Drive. Now that you're mentioning it, was from Atlantic Drive to Alameda, from Greenleaf definitely to Compton Boulevard. We all knew each other closely. These were all our people.
So during that time, we talking about 71, 72, right?
Okay.
And different tribes had established themselves to be either this or that, right? Who were you guys close to?
The thing is, we were close to anybody in Compton because we all knew we grew up with all the Compton brothers. And like I said,
Can I get a specific? Because, okay, being that you guys in close proximity of Pyru, did you guys get along with them? Were you against them? Or how do you explain that?
Man, we grew up with them. We knew them. The thing is, when Crips came to our neighborhood, it was not a homegrown indigenous tribe. They came from somewhere else with Crips. In Compton, I mean, we could have called ourselves anything, but putting in Tam over there in 135th and Pyru, they called it Pyru. But we was like, hey, we all Compton boys. And it was
so
like
what you're saying, if you look at it closely, then US and Pyrus are the two only original gangs from Compton, and the Crips came from somewhere else.
Yes. Absolutely.
When were you guys introduced to the Pyru Street Boys? What year was that?
I don't know no Pyru Street Boys, but I know Pyru.
Okay. When were you guys introduced to the Pyrus?
Man, we was hearing about Putting in Tam came to our hood one day, but they came gangster style, and we wasn't even gangster. We was like listening to Superfly. It was those days. We was like all permed up and everything, and they came to one of our parties, and they came kind of gangster because whatever happened to them over there by 135th and Pyru, they had already like, we got enemies. We didn't know there were no enemies. We were insulated. We were like, hey man, this is just party, have fun. And when they came there, man, I remember that, man, at that party, man. And Tam pulled out a motherfucking sawed-off double barrel. He didn't use it, but we was like, fuck.
What was his intention?
Don't know. But I do know Tam when I was 7 years old, when I went to jail with him.
Oh, you were in jail with him?
Went to jail with Tam, man. But so, hey, me and Tam, we went to jail because we lived on Randy and Maple, and Tam lived across the street, and he had like about 13. It was 13 of them, and Sherry and Wawa, it was his sisters, and Tam was like Derek. That I'm not gonna mention his last name, but he was like Derek, and me and Tam, we used to like jump rules in Compton and steal milk bottles and shit because we wanted to go to Wilson Park pool, and we wanted to swim, and then after we swam, we wanted to like eat something, so we need 10 cents for that, 35 cents for the pool. Man, every day we made a hustle, 35 cents a day each. You know, we was like,
I would do what everybody else, go to Thrifties after the swimming pool.
Bam! Hey, don't take me back right there, right, man?
And so who's the link between Us Boys and Tam and putting in the Pyrus? Who's behind that relationship that brought you guys together, picked you guys up like that?
Man, it was osmosis, man. Osmosis. The thing is, we were always Compton family. And you could say anybody could be a link, but we were all links because we knew every side. We knew them brothers. We knew them brothers. The invading force was what was the Crips from LA, who was like, you need to be a Crip. And US was like, no, we us. We not gonna be nothing. We us.
So let's go to what you just said. When did this invasion happen? With the us boys, what was y'all first encounter with the Crips?
I'm telling you, with them brims, man. At that party, man. That's when we didn't know nothing about no gangs or anything. When that happened, we didn't even know Pyru or nothing was happening. When that happened to us at that party and we abandoned our girls and we was like in shock, man, we said we ain't gonna be no punks. And we got together at the park and said, nah, we us.
This is Los Angeles.